Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. My name is Tanya for those of you that are new here, and I'm a watercolor and acrylic artist. So today's video is going to be a really fun, whimsical acrylic floral, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so I have my 6x6 canvas. I have my acrylic paints. I'll let you know what colors I'm using as I'm going along. I have my paper towel, my water, and I have several different sizes of my Filbert paint brushes and one liner brush here as well. So I'll let you know what sizes I'm using and what color I'm using as I'm painting. All right, so I quickly sketched out, well, first I painted my canvas blue. I think I used a brilliant blue and a titanium white, and I just kind of mixed the colors a little bit together for the background. And then I let that dry, and I went ahead and with a white watercolor pencil, I just quickly sketched in just a little bouquet with a vase. So that's what we're gonna be painting today. All right, so I'm gonna pick up my Filbert brush, and this is a size 10. And I'm gonna start filling in some of my bigger florals here. So you're just gonna wanna dip your paintbrush in your water to open up your bristles a little bit. And I am gonna make, let's say, some of these, maybe a pink. So I'm gonna take, I've got my, let's see, what color am I using? Aqua Violet, and a little bit of titanium white. I'm gonna make this pink color. And if you wanna make it a little bit more purpley, just add a little bit of your brilliant blue. I'm gonna start painting in some of these little petals here. And this is gonna be a very whimsical painting. It's not gonna really look like realistic flowers. This is just supposed to be fun, colorful. So as you can see, I'm just going around the center point. If you want to get a little bit more of that red in there, just to give it a little bit more depth in the middle here. Start going around your petals. So some of them I added a little bit more white, some of them are a little bit more just the red. And actually, I'm going to move down a size. I feel like this paintbrush is just too big. So let's go ahead and pick up a size 8. All right. Yeah, this is better. Can move around that little flower a little bit better. I'm gonna pick up a little more of my titanium white, bring it up on some of my petals here. And my petals are just kind of a curve. They're just kind of going around the center here. And I'm just kind of doing like this wavy little line. I'm gonna have some of my flowers in the back, or some of the petals in the back, be a little bit lighter than some of the petals in the front here. It just gives it a little bit more depth. If you start making some of them a little bit darker here in the front. Get a little bit more of my red here. I keep calling this red, it's actually violet. Okay, and then you can start going on to some of your others. I think what I'm gonna do is make them all different colors. So I think I'm gonna do this one here a little bit more yellow. I'm gonna wash off my brush. And I'm gonna pick up my cad yellow and a little bit of my titanium white. And I'm gonna start doing the same thing around this flower. Start filling it in. And I think I'm gonna pick up a little bit of my vermilion red also. Put a little more depth in this one as well. Okay, and I think I'm gonna make this one even a little bit more orange than that one. Take a little bit of my titanium. So this one here is titanium white and vermilion. And these are just supposed to be really organic shaped flowers. Like I said, not realistic, just have fun with it. This is supposed to be just a fun painting. And then I think I might add a little bit of my violet on the bottom of this one too, just to give it a little bit more depth. Good. All right, I'm gonna let that dry and I'm gonna go on to my centers. And let's see, I'm gonna take a little bit of my unbleached titanium here, and maybe just a little bit of black. Maybe a little more. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of blue to that too. I just wanna make some kind of dark center. And I'm just going in like little C curves, just going around. And now I'm gonna switch over to my smaller brush. This one here is a size 6, just because I want, I don't want my C curves to be as big because these flowers are smaller. There. I'm gonna add a little bit more black to this one up here. Actually, I'll add a little bit more black to each of them. There. Okay. All right, and I think I am going to start the vase. And the vase I want to be more of a black and a white. I love black and white in my paintings. I love the contrast of black and white. So I usually try to add a little bit of black and white in all my paintings. I'm going to stick with my size 6. And I think I'm gonna make this one striped, but on a diagonal. So I'm just gonna start anywhere. Start filling that in. You can add a little bit of water to this, or you can add a little bit of, what is this called? It's just a slow dry medium. It's by Liquitex. You can add that also if you want just the drying time to be slowed down on your painting here, so you can mix them together a little bit. And since I've got black on my brush right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and do all the black stripes, and then I'll come in and do the white stripes later. Now, if you want to thicken up your lines a little bit, go for it. All right, wash off your brush, and we're going to pick up some white. And I'm just going to start filling in with white right between those black lines. And now my black is still wet, so if they touch each other, it will turn gray, which I like. I like when they kind of mesh together when they touch. See how it kind of gives you a little bit of that gray streak? Just adds a little bit more dimension. You could have done this with a flat brush as well, would have been just as fine. And actually maybe even better than my filbert, but that's what I have here is just my filbert, so I'm making it work. And sometimes I would wrap my painting all the way on the sides because I am using, it's about an inch, inch and a half thick here. Sometimes I would go ahead and just bring my image down onto my sides, but this one here, I think I'm not gonna wrap the side. I think I might just paint the sides black or something, so I'm not worrying about going down the sides. All right, and the same thing. Take the clean brush and just kind of blur my lines a little bit here. You don't want to blur it too much though, that it starts to look all gray. So if you feel that you did blur a little bit too much in certain areas, just go back in, pick up a little bit more white, or black, depending on what area you want to crispen up, and just go over it again a little bit. So I'm just picking up a little bit more white and I'm going over some of my areas again, just to crispen it up. I feel like I just did maybe a little too much blending and it's a little too gray. There. Good. All right. Let's go on to our leaves now. Wash off my brushes. All right, so I've got a sap green and a brilliant blue here, and I'm probably gonna be mixing the two. Oh, and my cad yellow. So depending if you want your leaves to be a little bit more limey, you would do the green and the yellow. If you want them to be a little bit darker, maybe in the shadowed areas, you'd do the blue and the green. So it just depends, but I'm using my sap green as a base here. And actually I'm gonna add, I need a little more white. So I'm gonna do my sap green and a white, and I'm gonna get this like light greenish color, just because the green and the blue are competing right now. They've got kind of the same value going on at the same time. So I want the green to stand out a little bit, so I added a little bit of white to it so you can see the value a little bit better on the blue background. And then from here, you can go ahead and add a little bit of blue or a little bit of yellow. I think I'm gonna add a little cad yellow to this one. And I'm just mixing it right onto my canvas here. I don't use my palette. I mean, I do use my palette obviously, but I love to see the blending, the strokes of my paint. And I love to see like all the mixtures of the colors, not just that it's fully blended. So I'm just putting like even a little bit more yellow down right here. I just like to use my canvas as my palette sometimes, if that makes sense. I don't like to fully blend something. All right, let's do another leaf over here. And just be careful going around your flowers. And I think one of my dogs wants to go outside, so I'm probably gonna have to let him go out. He's doing a little dance around me. All right, I'm gonna let him out really quick. I love having 4 dogs. They're wonderful. I love them all, but sometimes they are a handful. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of blue to this one. See how right away, all of a sudden, it just starts darkening this up. So if you wanna add a little bit of shadows to your leaves or your greenery or your stems or whatever, just add a little bit of blue to it. It doesn't always have to be black or Payne's gray. Actually, when you add a little bit of blue to it, it just gives it a little bit more interest, a little bit more depth than just a flat black. It just pops it off the canvas a little bit more. All right, I am going to pick up my liner brush now. And I've got a size 1 liner brush. I'm gonna do the same thing with the green and the white. And I'm gonna make some of these little stems come down. And I have one going up here. And I have one coming down this way. Okay. All right. I actually need a smaller brush for this. I'm wondering if I've got one. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm picking up a number 3 filbert brush. This is a really tiny one, and I'm going to start filling in some of the leaves on these stems using the same colors. And here again, I'm just doing green and white. And I think I'll add in a little bit of my cad yellow just to pop it a little bit. Okay, maybe I'll add a little bit of blue in there, give it a little shadow. Really pretty. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing to the other ones now. And it's just kind of like a little teardrop, generic leaf little shape here. You can make them as big or as small as you want. I think I'll add a little blue to this one. Okay. And then the same thing over here. Pretty. All right, and I'm gonna put some greenery in here too, just to combine all these flowers and just to ground them a little bit. I'm gonna put some greenery in here too, like there's a leaf or some stems. You can leave some of the blue background showing if you want. And I'm just gonna darken this up because it's like stems or leaves kind of between all these flowers, so it's probably shadowed. So I'm gonna add some blue to it. And then over here too, like there's another one there. You can add a little white or a little yellow to pop certain areas. I like that look there where I'm just adding some different colors to it. If you don't like that, you would blend it, you would use a bigger brush and you wouldn't have as many brush strokes. But I don't mind all those brush strokes. I think it's kind of cool. But this I do want to blend a little more, it looks funny. I'm gonna add a little more of my blue to here. I liked it better when it was dark. So that's another thing, you just have to play around until something looks right to you. If it looks funny or looks off, try something else. All right, I'm gonna go on to this part, and I wanted this to be more like little berries. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my unbleached titanium white, and I'm gonna go over that. Add a little water to this. All right, and I'm gonna do little berries. And I think I'm gonna mix my violet and my vermilion. Actually, maybe it's too, some colors are a little bit more translucent than others. So if that's the case, you could add a little bit of white to it if you want. Make some berries here. I could have gone down a size in my brush, but that's okay. Cute. I think I might just keep it the one, because I could always add more berries over here. Maybe later if I see that I need them, I might add them over here. But right now I think I just want to keep it at that. All right, I am going to go ahead and start fixing up my petals. So I'm gonna go back to my size 8, and I'm gonna pick up pretty much the same colors I had done before. So this is just my Acrylic violet and titanium white. I'm just gonna add another layer. And down here I want it a little darker again, so not as much of the white. You can blend that out if you want. And now if you see that some of your flower shapes are, you don't like the shape or you don't like the size of something, you want it bigger, now's the time to do that. And if you want to make that center of your flower a little smaller, just close it up a little bit. Just go over it. Oop, I must have picked up a little bit of my yellow or orange in there. It changed the color on me a little bit, but it's okay. I kind of like it. All right, I'm going to do the same thing to my other two flowers. So I'm going to move back down to my size 6 for these flowers because they're a little bit smaller. So that's my yellow and my white. Now I'm adding a little bit of my more orangey vermilion down here. And if you think that I keep dipping into my paint and without washing it off, so I still have some of those other colors on here. If you don't like that, then definitely just wash off your brush really, really well. It doesn't really bother me though. All right, we're gonna go on to the next flower, which was mostly vermilion orange and the violet. And I'm going to pick up that violet and start adding it down here. And I'm going to pick up a little of my white, bring a little more white up this area. Now I am not blending it too much. I like looking at all those brush strokes, like I said before. If you don't like all those brush strokes, you would just keep blending. And actually I'm going to add a little bit more red towards the center. There. All right, I want to add a little bit more depth to my pinkish rose up here. My dogs are outside, but you could still hear them through the glass. That's how loud they are. So I apologize if you're hearing them bark out there. They're playing. All right, I'm gonna pick up a little of my white. And I'm just doing like little C curves everywhere. I just want this to be kind of like little texture. I want to give these petals texture. So that's why I'm making it all just little C curves everywhere. It's not blended out smoothly, because that's not the look I'm going for. All right, I think I'm going to add a little bit more orange to this second flower here. This is actually turning out to be a cute little painting. And I lost some of that yellow in that one. I'm gonna pick up more yellow. I had too much orange still on my brush. There we go. Really, really pretty. I love that. All right, I'm gonna deepen up those berries a little bit. And I'm just going over them with my, my violet. I'm just going to go over that stem a little bit there. Super cute. All right, I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to go on and start adding a little bit more definition to my leaves. So if you want to add a little more yellow in certain areas, a little more of that blue, if you want it to be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. And I just love seeing colors blend on the canvas. So I'm even making this like teal color right now, which I'm loving. Just gonna add a little bit of that in there. I think I need more white. And just keep playing around with it until you think it looks right. Sometimes I add a little bit too much blue and I'm like, oh, a little too dark. So you got to go in and add a little bit more green or white or yellow. Just adjust it a little bit. That's pretty. See, I like all these colors showing through so they're not just all one color. Actually, I'm going to start adding in a little bit of this slow dry medium because I feel like my leaves are just drying a little too fast. I can't work them that well. So I'm just going to add in there. And all that does is it slows down the drying time. Okay, and I think I'm going to add a little bit more definition to my leaves. So put that in there. I'm going to pick up my size 6 again. I'm adding a little bit more blue and green. Careful not to go on your berries. Just go carefully around your berries. And actually, I want to add a little more yellow on this side. There. Maybe a little white. There. Add a little bit of blue there, just darken up some of that middle. That's really pretty. All right. Then I'm going to add a little bit more depth to the middle of my flowers. I'll do a little bit of black and blue. There. All right. I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm actually going to go around my my vase here with some white. And I'm just going to crispen up the edge of my vase like that. And then if you want, on the white parts, you can just blend it out a little bit. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, but with black, so that there's a highlighted side and a dark side. Just make sure you have enough water or slow drying agent on there just to blend it out a little bit more. I usually use just a little bit of water for that, just so you get a nice crisp line. And then here again, if you want to blend it in with your black side on this side, go for it. And actually, I need to add a little more black down here. Pretty. And actually, I am going to crispen up the black under these flowers. Super, super pretty. I love it. It's very whimsical. Now, if you want to add a couple little dots or whatever to the centers, you can. I am going to you just take like the back of your brush, or you could take your liner brush, or you could take a really small brush. It doesn't really matter. I usually use just the bottoms of my paint brushes. And I think I'm going to I'm going to make a little bit of a yellow and white mixture here. And then take that. Make sure you get enough of it. And I'm just going to add a couple little dots. Just adds a little extra dimension. And then I think that my berries need a little bit of white highlight. So let's see, let's pick up that small brush again. Let's pick up a tinier one. Let's pick up a size 1. And I'm just gonna get a little bit of my titanium white, and I'm just gonna go over these berries just a little bit. So this is the highlighted side. Since I did the highlighted side of my vase, you just wanna stay kind of consistent. So if you're gonna put a highlight on something, make sure that it's consistent with the rest of your painting. Just a little bit of white there. Super, super pretty. All right, I think I'm just gonna crispen up a little bit of the white on my vase that I feel maybe just got a little bit too grayed. Just to pop it a little bit more. Especially on the highlighted side of the vase, you wanna just leave that a little bit more crisp white. That's why I'm not going all the way down to this side. I'm just making my white brighter on the left side where my highlights are. Okay, really pretty. You can keep reworking this. I mean, if you want to add more white highlights, or if you want to add like maybe some lines, you know what, let's do that. Let's just add some little white lines here and there. Oops. And then with a dry brush, I'm using a bigger dry brush, you can just kind of blend them in a little bit. If they were just a little bit too stark for you, just blend them out a little bit like that. And actually, I think I'm gonna put some highlights on this one too. This one doesn't really need it, but I'm gonna put some highlights on him. So I'm just doing some little C curves here and there. And then I'm going to go in with a dry clean brush, and just blend it out a little bit, soften it up. There, just softens it a little bit. And actually, I think it needs a little bit more. That's really, really pretty. You know what? Now that I did those two, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little white on my yellow one too. Just a little bit in this that side right there, and blend it out. There. That looks really, really pretty. I love it. I think I'm really happy with it. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of a quick, very whimsical, very colorful acrylic painting. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you liked it and learned a little something. And if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, and you can make a comment in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos like this one. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Have a great day. Bye.